Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Eleanor with Eleanor's Elite Radio. It's a beautiful day outside. Everyone is still in quarantine, so I'm taking advantage of this beautiful day by sitting outside. So if we hear some birds in the background, don't get nervous. It's just a beautiful day. Anyway, I like to introduce a very dear friend of mine, Miss Dina Mezza, who was my trainer when I started my work with the Guardian Ad Litem program over in Vieira. Hi, Miss Dina. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Eleanor. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that lovely introduction.
Oh, you're always so sweet, Miss Dina. I love you so much. Anyway, I just want to thank you. I just wanted to explain to everybody how the Guardian Ad Litem program has affected my life. So much to the point that, I was diddle-daddling with school, with education and business and changing my major quite a few times in the past few years to make me decide that I think I do want to go to law school and I do want to be an attorney for the Guardian Ad Litem program. I think that what I've seen thus far, the year that I've been there, has just been so instrumental to me that I did speak with a couple of my friends who are attorneys, and they all said, go for it. Age shouldn't really be a factor. And I thank you for that, Dina, because you really opened my eyes and my mind and everything to such really just it's a wonderful program. But for those who don't know, could you tell me a little bit more about the Guardian Ad Litem program for those who are listening and might not know what it is or what we do?
I'd be happy to. Sure. Well, the Guardian Ad Litem program is really about heartfelt child advocacy. Volunteers like you are the foundation of our Guardian Ad Litem program, and they are the superheroes for our children that they advocate for. Volunteers are part of each child advocacy team. The program is made up of a team of caring people who advocate for children. And these aren't everyday children. These are children that have experienced abuse, neglect, abandonment by their parents. These children have been removed from their parents' care because of significant safety issues. And consequently, the court becomes involved. These children are then placed in foster care, relative care, or non-relative care, while in the temporary custody of the Department of Children and Families, also known as DCF. There is a dependency court case involving these children's parents. And that's when a judge appoints the Guardian Ad Litem program to advocate for these children. So they have a voice in the court case involving their parents. Guardians are the only representatives for these children in the court cases advocating just for the best interest of these children. Volunteers advocate to get these children the services and supports they need to be successful while in care. A judge appoints the Guardian Ad Litem program to advocate for these children, so they have a voice in the court case involving their parents. Guardians are the only representatives for these children in the court cases advocating just for the best interests of these children. Volunteers advocate to get these children the services and support they need to be successful while in care, which results in better long-term life outcomes for these children. The goal is to help these children attain a safe, loving, and permanent home. That can be through advocating these children return to their parents who have made positive changes, and it's now safe for these children to return to their parents' care and custody. Or that can be through advocating these children be in a safe, nurturing home with adoptive parents.
That's quite an explanation. And the truth of the matter is that you basically get appointed a child or two, however many that you feel comfortable with, and that guardian reports to that family once a month, which is what I do. There are some reports which are taught to you that you have to fill out. You really have to give yourself 100%. I'm very grateful for my training that I received from Miss Dina because she was really the only training I received, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Dina, could you tell me what is the training program like now that you're in charge of it?
Sure. Well, it is a state curriculum, but we do have some local programming that is part of our Brevard County program. And so the volunteer training program is comprehensive, yet it's concise and convenient. Most of the training program is done online. It's a 30-hour training program in total. The first 20 hours are all done online and at the volunteers' convenience around their work, school, or home schedule. The online interactive training videos are streamlined in content, which can seem overwhelming at first. However, the content is easy to comprehend and follow, as well as being extremely convenient. The other 10 hours consists of pre-service classroom training being done virtually at this time, dependency court observation, and then field work, which is where a volunteer selects a court case and a child they want to advocate for, and they start advocating for that child who needs them.
Dina, how many volunteers do we need now? I know now might be a very difficult time because, of course, the courts are closed and we're not really doing any human contact until the quarantine has been lifted 100%. However, how many volunteers are we talking about that you need to recruit right now?
Good question, Eleanor. It would be wonderful to reach the hearts of dozens of listeners to get as many people volunteering as possible. The Guardian Ad Litem program is a statewide program, with the Brevard County office being located at the Moore Justice Center, known as the Vera Courthouse. In our local program, we have 245 children in Brevard County who do not have a volunteer child advocate. That's 245 children.
That's a lot.
Yes. So it would be ideal for every child appointed to our program to have a volunteer child advocate. As a community, we have that ability to lift these children up while they are in care, improve their overall well-being, which improves the quality of their lives while they're in care, and even in life beyond. The data shows that these children have better life outcomes because they've had a volunteer child advocate.
What kind of work does a volunteer do with the Guardian Ad Litem program? Can you kind of explain a general, a typical, let's say a typical visit or a typical day?
Well, volunteers see and spend time with their children every month for the length of the court case. So volunteers can see their children at their placements, their homes, their schools, out in the community, a playground, ice cream shop. So volunteers are an active presence in these children's lives. They attend court hearings. They make recommendations to the judge about what is in the children's best interests. For example, what family time visitation should this child have with his or her parents? What should the parameters of that family time visitation be? Should it be supervised, unsupervised, in the community? What services and resources does this child need, like counseling, speech therapy, tutoring, clothing? Judges listen to volunteers' recommendations because they are the voice of the child. They're advocating in their child's best interest. They are a neutral, impartial, and unbiased advocate for these children. Volunteers also observe family time visitation between the child and the child's parents. Volunteers are speaking with people knowledgeable about that child to do independent investigations, gather information to formulate recommendations in their child's best interests. Examples of people in the child's life that volunteers would speak to are parents, teachers, pediatricians, therapists, caregivers. The volunteer really gets an overall picture of how the child is doing and then advocates for that child's needs and permanency.
That's really, it has been such a life-turning experience for me being a guardian ad litem. And it's funny because I spoke with a dear friend of mine the other day who was also a guardian ad litem attorney, and she now is doing another type of law. However, she told me that when she first became a guardian ad litem many years ago, that's what prompted her to become an attorney too. And I'm thinking, wow. So I think if you have a passion for children's rights, or I should say advocacy for children, this is something you really need to get in touch with Dina, and I'm sure she'll give you all the pertinent information at the end of our show. But if this is something you just want to try and see if you can make that difference in a child's life, let me ask you, Dina, one more question. What type of support does a volunteer receive during this type of child advocacy?
Volunteers don't do this work alone. They're not expected to do this work alone. Rather, volunteers are an equal part of an advocacy team. Volunteers are part of a 3-person team on each case and for each child. The team is made up of the volunteer child advocate, a child best interest attorney, and a child advocate manager. The volunteer's focus is information gathering, investigation about how the child is doing overall, and brings that child well-being information back to the team and shares that information with the court in court reports and through attending court hearings. The child best interest attorney's focus is on the law, legal arguments, and what recommendations the team can make to the judge based on the facts and the law. And the child advocate manager's focus is volunteer management and supporting the volunteer as the child welfare expert with knowledge about services and resources.
Very cool. Dina, if you could say you wanted just one thing today from being on air with me, what would you hope for today?
My hope is to call people to take action, to get involved as a volunteer with the Guardian Ad Litem program, or if being a child advocate doesn't sound like the right fit for the listeners, then my hope is that the listeners will volunteer in our community in some other way. I hope that some people listening today feel a tug in their hearts to want to volunteer, to change the trajectory of a child's life for the better.
I think that's all we could really hope for, isn't it? You would be so surprised at how many times I hear from my parents who have children, foster parents, I should say, how I am such a lifeline for them, or a guardian angel is what one called me this morning. And it's very rewarding to hear it. And not all of it is peachy keen and roses. There's going to be times you're going to, be upset, or you're going to, I don't know how else to explain that, but there are going to be times that it's very heart-wrenching. But you have to plow through that and look on the other side of the spectrum, knowing that there is light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. I hate to use those ridiculous expressions, but that's all that came to my mind right now. I think I'm getting too overwhelmed with the beautifulness of today and the birds singing in the background. Anyway, Dina, I want to thank you so much. You know how much I love and respect you as an attorney, as a guardian ad litem, as my trainer. I mean, if it wasn't for you, I don't really know if I would have stuck around as long as I have. So thank you, Dina, so much for everything you've done for me. I so appreciate you. I do.
Well, Eleanor, you're an excellent advocate for the children that you advocate for in our program. And thank you for all you do. And we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Hey, guys, this will be on Brevard Family Partnership website. This will be on my Facebook page, Eleanor's Elite Radio. And Dina, can we get this on the guardianadlitem.org page too? Do you know?
We can get this on our Guardian Ad Litem Facebook page. And if I could just say, Eleanor, if anyone is interested in applying to be a volunteer child advocate, they can fill out an online application at guardianadlitem.org. They can also call 1-866-341-1425.
I was definitely going to get to that. I just wanted to make sure that everybody who wants to hear the show can hear it on my Facebook page, on Brevard Family Partnership page, and we're going to try to get this out there as much as possible, because I would like to. And if you have any questions, you can IM me for all my friends out there as well. Anyway, Dina, thank you so much for today. I hope that we can reach at least some people that would want to just give a helping hand in one way or another.
Oh, well, thank you, Eleanor. I greatly appreciate it. And you've been an excellent advocate for all of our children.
Thank you, Dina. Love you, honey. You take care.
You as well.
Bye-bye, dear.